Before we begin, I want to mention that only 1% of you are subscribed. Please subscribe, because when we reach a certain number of subscribers, I will post a special video for you. Tom's spacecraft jolted violently as it entered the atmosphere of an unknown planet. Alarms blared, and lights flashed across his control panel. With a communication focus, Tom managed to steer the ship into a less catastrophic trajectory, ultimately crash landing near a dense forest that bordered a vivid, sprawling meadow. As the dust settled, the cockpit door hissed open, and Tom stepped out, scanning his surroundings. His survival training kicked in. First, secure the perimeter. Second, salvage what you can. Third, signal for help. But as he checked his communicator, he realized it was damaged in the crash. Alone on an alien planet, Tom's situation was dire, but he wasn't one to panic. While gathering his emergency supplies, Tom noticed movement at the edge of the forest. Ducking behind a part of his wrecked ship, he watched as a figure cautiously approached. It wasn't human. The creature was tall and slender, with iridescent skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. It paused, tilting its head as if listening. Tom cleared his throat and called out, "Hello, I come in peace." The figure jumped, then slowly moved closer. It spoke, its voice musical but unintelligible. Seeing Tom's confused look, the alien tapped a device on its wrist, and after a series of chirps and static, it spoke again. "Can you understand now?" "Yes," Tom replied, amazed. "Nice Reaper. I'm Tom from Earth." "All right," the alien introduced itself, moving closer with cautious grace. Tom noticed ARA's curious gaze fixed on his survival gear. "I was exploring this galaxy when my ship failed," Tom explained. "I'm stuck here until I can repair my communicator and call for help." ARA nodded, absorbing his predicament. "This planet is Zelia. You are far from the usual space routes. Come, let us assist you," ARA said, gesturing towards the forest. Reluctant, but seeing little choice, Tom followed ARA into the forest, which opened into a vibrant village hidden among towering trees. The structures were an impressive blend of natural elements and advanced technology seamlessly integrated into the environment. As they entered the village, ARA introduced Tom to more of their kind. Another male, Lear, stepped forward. His gaze was intense, and his stance protective. This is Lev, my brother," ARA explained. "He's skilled in our technology." Elle examined Tom with a sharp eye before speaking. "Your technology is different, but maybe I can help. Show me what you need." Together they returned to the crash site. Tom and Elle worked side by side, sifting through the debris. Help ties. Tom was impressed by Elle's quick grasp of human technology, despite its foreignness to him. As they worked, Tom asked, "What's your planet like? Your people?" Elle, hands busy with a piece of the communicator, smiled. "Zeloria is mostly a peaceful place. We live with nature, as you see. We learn from it, and it sustains us." The sun began to set, casting long shadows over the meadow. The work was far from done, but Tom felt a glimmer of hope thanks to his newfound allies. Back in the village, as they shared a meal of local fruits and vegetables, Tom listened intently to ARA and Elle discussing their history, culture, and technology. He was a stranger here, yet the kindness and curiosity of ARA and Elle bridged the gap between their worlds. As the night deepened, ARA said, "You will stay with us, learn from us, and in return, teach us about your Earth." Tom nodded, grateful and intrigued. "Thank you, ARA Lemin. I'm a long way from home, but perhaps I've found a new one." For now, together under the stars of a foreign sky, human and alien sat in fellowship, united by circumstance and a shared desire to understand each other's worlds. The sun of Zalora arose early, casting a warm glow over the village, and through the window of the guest quarters where Tom had spent the night. As he awoke, the unfamiliar yet beautiful bird-like calls reminded him of his remarkable situation. Today he would dive deeper into the world of Zoria, guided by his new friends ARA and Elle. After a breakfast of sweet pulpy fruits and a thick creamy beverage that tasted faintly of almonds, Tom met Elle outside. Elle had promised him a tour of the village to better understand their technology and lifestyle. "Good morning, Tom," Elle greeted him with a nod. "Wow. Ready to learn something about our ways?" "I am," Tom replied. following Elle to what appeared to be the center of the village, where a large transparent structure stood. This is our community center, Elle explained, leading him inside. Here we gather to learn, make decisions, and celebrate. Tom marveled at the technology surrounding him. Screens hovered in the air displaying data. Children interacted with 3D projections, and elders manipulated light-based interfaces. With these, how do you power all this? Tom asked, genuinely curious. Come, I'll show you, Elle said, guiding him to the back of the building, where a large crystalline structure pulsed with light. This crystal captures solar energy, more efficient than anything else we've found. It powers everything here. Amazing, Tom murmured, inspecting the crystal up close. As they continued their tour, Elle introduced Tom to various villagers. Each person was eager to show Tom their role in the community, from agriculture using hydroponic systems to artistic expressions through holography. Later, they visited a workshop where ARA was waiting. She stood beside a table filled with devices and tools, a bright smile on her face. Tom, I thought you might want to see some of the devices we're working on. This one, she picked up a small, sleek device, is a translator for interspecies communication. I could have used it yesterday, Tom chuckled, taking the device and examining it. This is incredible. Back on Earth, we have translators, but nothing this advanced. We hope it can help you during your stay here, perhaps even improve it with your input, ARA suggested. Tom nodded, impressed by their openness and willingness to share. I'd love to help in any way I can. The rest of the day was spent with Tom and Lel working together to integrate some human technology into Zorian devices. The collaboration was not only productive, but also enjoyable. They joked and shared stories of their planets, finding common ground despite their different backgrounds. As the sun began to set, they gathered in the communal eating area where dinner was served. The meal was lively, filled with laughter and the sharing of more personal stories. Tom felt a warmth that went beyond the food and the setting sun. Elle leaned over and said, "It's not just the technology that brings us together, Tom. It's the willingness to share our lives and learn from each other." Tom nodded in agreement, feeling a connection to these alien people that went deeper than he had anticipated. Back on Earth, we often fear what we don't understand, Tom shared thoughtfully. But here, with you and ARA, I feel like I'm part of something bigger. It's a good feeling. ARA smiled at him across the table. And you've made us feel closer to your world too, Tom. It's as if we're not so different after all. The evening wound down with more talk and plans for the coming days. As Tom walked back to his quarters under the starlit sky of Zoria, he couldn't help but feel that he had indeed found a new kind of home. One that was unexpected but profoundly welcoming. The next morning, Zelia greeted Tom with crisp, cool air that contrasted with the warmth of the previous day's welcome. After breakfast, ARA approached him with a playful gleam in her eye. "Tom, today is the Festival of Moons," she announced. "It's a celebration of our two moons aligning. It only happens once every Zelleran year, and we thought you might like to join us." Tom was intrigued. "I'd love to. What happens during the festival?" "It's a day of music, dance, and sharing stories under the open sky, and tonight you will see the Dance of the Moons. It's quite a sight," ARA replied with enthusiasm. As the village prepared for the festival, Elle joined them. "Tom, before the festival starts, would you help me gather some sound petals? They are flowers that play sounds when the moon's light hits them. We use their music for the festival." "Sound petals? That sounds amazing. Lead the way, Elle," Tom replied, eager to learn more. Together they ventured into the lush forest surrounding the village. As they walked, Lai pointed out various plants and explained their uses. Tom was fascinated by the symbiotic relationship between Zorian technology and their environment. After collecting the sound petals, they returned to the village, which was now vibrantly decorated with lights and colors. Villagers, dressed in ceremonial garb, milled about, their excitement palpable. As dusk fell, the festival began. Tom watched in awe as the Zorians performed. There was a gentle grace to their movements, a harmony that resonated deeply with him. ARA, dressed in a flowing robe that shimmered under the moonlight, took the central stage. "This dance," ARA explained as she approached Tom, "is an homage to the celestial dance of our moons. It's a dance of unity and connection." With a gentle nod, she extended her hand to Tom. "Would you join me?" Tom took her hand, feeling a rush of excitement as they stepped into the dance circle. The music from the sound pedals filled the air, a melody unlike anything Tom had ever heard. RA guided him through the steps. Her movements were fluid, and Tom found himself moving in sync more easily than he expected. The villagers around them cheered and clapped, adding to the magical atmosphere. As the dance ended, ARA and Tom stood close, their hands still clasped them. The moons overhead cast a soft glow around them, enhancing the moment's intimacy. ARA, Tom said softly, his heart beating faster. Thank you for sharing this with me. ARA's eyes met his, reflecting the twin moon's light. I'm glad you're here, Tom, she whispered. In a spontaneous moment driven by the night's beauty and the connection he felt, Tom leaned in and kissed ARA. It was a gentle kiss, one that spoke of new beginnings and mutual respect. ARA responded in kind, her hand reaching up to touch Tom's cheek. The kiss deepened slightly, filled with a promise of understanding and discovery. As they parted, the crowd around them erupted in gentle applause, having witnessed the blossoming of something beautiful. Tonight is a night of unity, Elle said, coming to their side and placing a brotherly hand on each of their shoulders. And it seems it has brought more than just our moons together. Tom smiled, feeling a part of this alien world in a way he hadn't anticipated. The rest of the evening was spent in celebration, but for Tom, the world seemed a little smaller, the stars a little closer. As the festival wound down, ARA walked with Tom back to his quarters. I'm glad you're here, she repeated. So am I, ARA. So am I, Tom replied, knowing that this festival, this night, would be a cherished memory, one of many he hoped to make on Zoria. The morning after the Festival of Moons found Tom and ARA sitting beside the tranquil waters of a vast Zorian lake. They had decided to spend the day away from the village, exploring one of ARA's favorite natural spots. As a child, I would come here to think and dream, ARA explained, her eyes reflecting the clear blue waters. It seemed like a good place to bring you after last night. Tom nodded, still feeling the warmth of their shared dance and kiss. It's beautiful, ARA. Thank you for sharing it with me. As they walked along the shore, Tom spotted several creatures that looked like a cross between fish and birds skimming the water's surface. What are those? He asked, pointing. We call them gliderfish. They're unique to this lake, ARA said, watching the creatures with a fond smile. They can breathe both air and water. Intrigued, Tom kneeled for a closer look. Incredible, he murmured. Their walk continued, in comfortable silence, until they reached a secluded spot with a panoramic view of the lake. Here, ARA stopped and spread out a blanket she had brought along. Let's rest here for a while, she suggested. Sitting side by side, they shared a meal of fresh fruits and a savory pastry-like dish ARA had prepared. After eating, Tom felt compelled to revisit the subject of their burgeoning relationship. ARA, about last night, Tom began, turning to look at her. I hope you know how much it meant to me. I've never felt such a connection before. ARA met his gaze, her expression sincere. I feel the same, Tom. It's new and a little scary, but it feels right. Encouraged, Tom reached out to take her hand. I want to explore where this can go if you're willing. ARA's hand tightened around his. I am. Their conversation drifted to dreams and aspirations, both personal and for their communities. Tom talked about his adventures across galaxies and his hope to make meaningful connections with alien civilizations. ARA shared her visions for her planet's future and her role in it. As the sun began its descent, casting golden hues across the lake, ARA stood and extended her hand to Tom. Come on, I want to show you something else. Curious, Tom followed her to the water's edge, where ARA picked up a smooth stone and threw it across the water, creating a series of skips. Your turn, she challenged with a playful grin. Tom laughed and attempted to mimic her technique, managing a respectable 3 skips. Not bad for a human, he joked. Not bad at all, ARA agreed, her laughter mixing with the lapping waves. As they played, the connection between them deepened, the simple joy of shared moments creating a bond that felt as natural as the scenery around them. Eventually, they returned to the blanket, sitting closer this time. The sky shifted to deeper shades of purple and pink, reflecting in the lake's still waters. ARA leaned her head on Tom's shoulder. I never imagined I could feel this way about someone so different from me, she whispered. Tom wrapped an arm around her, pulling her closer. Nor did I, but I'm grateful for it. They watched the sunset in silence, each lost in thoughts of what the future might hold. As the first stars appeared, Tom turned to ARA, his decision clear. ARA, I don't know what the protocols are for this, but I'd like to stay here on Zoria with you. ARA looked up at him, surprise and joy evident in her eyes. Really? Yes, Tom affirmed. I've traveled far and seen much. But this, he gestured around them, feels like home. ARA's response was to pull him into a kiss, gentle and affirming under the burgeoning night sky. As they parted, she smiled. Welcome home, Tom. Together they lay back, watching the stars emerge in numbers unimaginable on Earth. The universe was vast. But here on Zelalia, Tom had found a universe of his own. In ARA's eyes, as night enveloped Zelia, a rare cosmic event, the passing of a comet, was about to occur. Visible only once every few decades from the planet's surface, the village buzzed with excitement. Preparations underway for a night of observation and celebration. Tom spent the afternoon helping Elle and a few other villagers set up telescopes and projection screens in the open field near the community center, transforming it into an outdoor observatory. Tom, can you hand me that lens there? Elle asked, pointing toward a table laden with various optical instruments. Sure thing, Elle, Tom replied, handing him a large convex lens. As he did, he couldn't help but notice the growing bond between them, almost brotherly. So, Elle, ARA told me about the significance of this comet. It's supposed to be a harbinger of new beginnings, right? Lal nodded, carefully fitting the lens into a telescope. Exactly. It's a symbol of change and reflection. It makes us think about our place in the cosmos, about new paths and choices. Tom smiled, thinking about his own new path with ARA. Sounds perfect for tonight. Hey, ARA and I have something important to share with everyone. Elle gave him a knowing look. I thought I noticed something different between you two. I'm glad, Tom. My sister deserves happiness. As dusk turned to evening, villagers gathered, bringing with them dishes of food and drink, spreading out blankets and tuning instruments for later music. The atmosphere was festive yet intimate, the community coming together under the stars. Tom found ARA standing at the edge of the crowd, looking up at the emerging stars. He approached her, slipping his hand into hers. Beautiful night for a comet, he remarked. AR squeezed his hand. And for new beginnings. Are you ready to tell everyone? Tom nodded. With you, always. Together they joined the rest of the village at the center of the field. Elle called for quiet, and the chatter subsided as all eyes turned towards him. Fellow Zorians, tonight is special not just because of the comet, but because of a new bond that has formed in our midst. Elle began, his voice carrying across the silent crowd. Tom, would you and ARA come forward? Heart beating with a mix of nervousness and excitement, Tom led ARA to the front. He took a deep breath, looking out at the faces turned towards them, and then at ARA, her eyes encouraging. Friends, Tom started, his voice steady. Hey. I came here as a stranger, but you welcomed me with open arms and hearts. Tonight, under this comet, ARA and I want to share with you that we have decided to start a new chapter together here on Zoria. Murmurs of surprise and smiles spread through the crowd. ARA took over, her voice clear and strong. Tom has shown me a love I never imagined, and he wishes to stay on Zoria, to be a part of our world, our community. Applause broke out along with cheers. Several villagers came forward, clapping Tom and Elle on the back, offering hugs and well wishes. As the comet finally made its appearance, streaking brilliantly across the sky, the crowd cheered louder. Music started up, and the festival atmosphere resumed, now with an added layer of joy and celebration. Later, as the music played and villagers danced, Elle joined Tom and ARA, handing them each a cup of Zorian wine. To new beginnings, he toasted, raising his cup. To new beginnings, Tom and ARA echoed, their cups clinking. The comet blazed overhead, its tail glowing against the dark sky. A silent witness to the promises made and the futures being woven together on this small, vibrant planet so far from Earth. In the days following the comet's passage, The spirit of new beginnings flourished within the Zorian community. Inspired by his commitment to ARA and their people, Tom proposed a cultural exchange day to deepen the mutual understanding between him and the villagers. "Tom, that sounds like a brilliant idea," Elle responded enthusiastically when Tom brought up his plan over breakfast. "What do you have in mind?" "I was thinking we could set up a series of workshops," Tom suggested, spreading his hands as he visualized the concept. "I can share some basic Earth sciences and history, maybe even our music. And in return, I'd love to learn more about Zolorian culture. Maybe something about your agricultural techniques or energy systems." Elle nodded vigorously. "Let's do it! I'll organize a session on our energy harnessing methods, and I bet everyone would love to see some of your Earth music." Excited by the plan, they set to work organizing the event, which was met with eager anticipation by the villagers. The chosen day dawned clear and bright, perfect for their cultural rendezvous. Various stations were set up around the village square, each dedicated to different aspects of Earth and Zorian life. Tom started his day at the Earth History Station, where he had laid out holographic timelines of major Earth events. His audience was captivated, their faces alight with curiosity as they interacted with the holograms, asking questions that Tom answered with equal enthusiasm. "How similar our histories are despite being galaxies apart," one elder remarked, making Tom smile with pride and a newfound appreciation for his heritage. Next, he moved to the science workshop, where he explained basic physics with practical demonstrations involving magnets and gravity. The Zorian children especially found this fascinating, their laughter and claps filling the air as they engaged with the experiments. Meanwhile, Elle hosted a workshop on Zorian agriculture, demonstrating their use of natural enzymes to enhance soil fertility. Tom, attending as a participant, was deeply impressed by the sophistication of their organic technology. "This could revolutionize Earth's agricultural methods," Tom mused aloud, making notes on his datapad. "I hope we can help with that," Elle replied, clapping Tom on the shoulder. "The exchange of knowledge is the pathway to universal growth." As the afternoon waned, Tom prepared for the final event of his cultural day, a music exchange. He had brought his guitar, a rather old-fashioned instrument by Zorian standards, and began tuning it under the curious gazes of many villagers gathering around. The crowd fell silent as Tom started to play a soft melody, one that spoke of Earth's vast oceans and windy skies. The tune was melancholic yet beautiful, stirring emotions in both humans and Zorians alike. After the song, ARA, moved by the melody, stepped forward with a traditional Zorian instrument resembling a harp. She played a piece that perfectly complemented the theme of Tom's music, her melody harmonizing with the lingering notes of his guitar. The day concluded with shared meals around the village square, everyone discussing the workshops and the new insights they had gained. Tom felt a profound connection to the community, a bond that was only strengthening. "This was an amazing day, Tom," ARA said as they walked back to their home, her arm looped through his. "You've brought us closer together." "I couldn't have done it without all of you," Tom replied, looking around at the happy faces still mingling in the square. "I feel like I'm truly a part of something here." As they reached their door, Elle caught up with them, his face earnest. "Tom, you're not just a part of something. You're part of us now, and we're better for it." With a grateful nod, Tom felt the full weight of his new life settle around him, comforting and exhilarating. As they entered their home, the stars overhead twinkled in a sky that no longer seemed so alien. A few weeks after the cultural exchange, ARA and Tom found themselves facing a different kind of challenge. One evening, as they sat in their living area, ARA seemed unusually pensive, her usually bright eyes clouded with concern. Tom noticed her unease. "ARA, what's on your mind?" "You've been quiet all evening." ARA took a deep breath, her hands nervously clasped in her lap. "Tom, there's something I need to tell you. Something important." Sensing the seriousness of her tone, Tom turned to face her fully, his expression attentive and supportive. "Whatever it is, ARA, we face it together." ARA nodded, gathering her courage. "Tom, I'm pregnant. We're going to have a child." Tom's reaction was a complex tapestry of shock, joy, and concern. "A baby? ARA, that's incredible, but also, wow, that's a lot to process." "Yes, it is," ARA agreed, her voice a mixture of happiness and apprehension. "And there's more. We need to tell my parents. They don't know we're expecting or how serious we are." Tom took her hand, squeezing it reassuringly. "Let's tell them together." "When do you think we should do it?" Soon, ARA replied. Tomorrow, if you're ready. The next day, Tom and ARA made their way to ARA's parents' home, which lived on the outskirts of the village. The walk was quiet, both lost in their own thoughts about the impending conversation. Upon arriving, they were greeted warmly by ARA's father, Marin, and her mother, AA, who ushered them into the house with customary Zorian hospitality. After some initial pleasantries and a light meal, ARA took a deep breath and glanced at Tom, seeing his nod of encouragement. She turned to her parents. Mother, Father, we have something important to share, ARA began, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. Marin and Aa exchanged curious glances, their expressions turning serious as they sensed the gravity of the moment. We're expecting a child, ARA announced, her eyes searching her parents' faces for their reaction. The room was silent for a moment that stretched out uncomfortably. Then AA's face broke into a smile, and Marin's eyes twinkled with a mixture of surprise and delight. A child? Truly? AA exclaimed, moving to embrace ARA warmly. Marin looked at Tom, assessing him anew. This is unexpected. Tom, do you understand what this means? Tom, who had been preparing for this moment, nodded. I do, sir. I love ARA, and I am committed to being here with her and our child. I'm ready to embrace all that entails, including being a part of this community fully and permanently. Marin's gaze softened, and he nodded slowly, visibly moved by Tom's declaration. Then you are welcome, truly welcome, into our family, AA, ever the pragmatist, added. But there are things we need to discuss. Raising a child here with your combined heritages will be unique. Challenging, perhaps. Yes, we know, ARA said, squeezing Tom's hand. We're ready to learn, to adapt. We want to blend our worlds for our child. The conversation that followed was long and filled with discussions about traditions, expectations, and the practicalities of raising a child in a cross-cultural environment. Tom listened, asked questions, and shared his own hopes and fears openly. As the meeting drew to a close, Marin stood, extending his hand to Tom. You have shown great honor to our daughter and to us. We trust you, Tom. Tom shook his hand, feeling a profound sense of belonging and responsibility. Thank you, sir, for your trust and your blessing. Walking back home under the stars, ARA leaned against Tom, her earlier tension replaced with relieved contentment. That went better than I hoped, she murmured. I'm pregnant with this daring man, Tom joked lightly, recalling the day's stress with a chuckle. ARA laughed. The sound sweet and happy. Yes. And this daring man is exactly who I want by my side. As they entered their home, the future seemed bright with promise, filled with the love and unity that would guide them into this new chapter of their lives. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon of Zoria, the village awoke to a day that promised new beginnings for Tom and ARA. It marked a significant transition into their new life together, one that would soon expand to include their child. The community had embraced Tom fully, and with ARA by his side, he felt ready to face any challenge. Tom and ARA, along with Elle, had planned a small ceremony to renew their commitment to each other and to their future as a family. The ceremony was to take place by the Crystal Lake, a site of great significance for Zorians, symbolizing clarity and purity of intent. As they walked to the lake, Tom reflected on the journey that had brought him to this moment. ARA, do you remember the first day I landed on Zoria? How lost I felt. ARA smiled, squeezing his hand. I remember thinking how brave you were, stepping into a world so unfamiliar. And now, Tom continued, it feels like I was always meant to be here with you. They reached the lakeside, where Elle and a few other villagers were waiting. The lake shimmered under the early morning light, the air filled with the gentle sounds of Zorian wildlife. Elle stepped forward, holding a woven band of Zorian flowers. Tom, ARA, today you affirm your paths together, not just as partners, but as future parents. These flowers represent the life you will grow and nurture together. Please tie them around each other's wrists. Tom and ARA exchanged the floral bands, their eyes locked in a mutual promise of love and dedication. The simple ceremony was deeply moving, more so because of the personal journey they both had traveled. As the ceremony concluded, the villagers applauded, their faces bright with joy. One of the elders, a wise and respected figure in the community, came forward. Tom, ARA, You have shown us the power of unity and love, the elder said. You have woven your lives together with strength and grace. May your family be as vibrant and enduring as the Zorian sun. Thank you, Tom replied, his voice thick with emotion. This community has given me more than I could have ever asked for. A home, a family, and a future. The elder nodded, pleased, and you have given us a glimpse into a wider universe, reminding us that we are all connected, no matter how distant our origins. After the ceremony, the villagers shared a communal meal by the lake. Tom and Ara were surrounded by friends and family, all eager to share in their happiness and to offer support for the future. Later, as the celebration wound down, Elle pulled Tom aside. You know, I was skeptical when Ara first brought you here, he confessed. But now, I can't imagine our village without you. Tom clapped Elle on the back. I feel the same, Elle. You've become like a brother to me. And you to me, Elle replied with a grin. Now get ready. Being a father is the next great adventure, and it's nothing like fixing a spaceship. Both men laughed. Their bond sealed not just by their familial ties, but by genuine friendship and respect. As the day turned into evening, Tom and Ara sat by the now quiet lake, watching the sunset paint the sky with colors that seemed to herald a bright future. Ara, do you think our child will ever believe the story of how we met? Tom asked, his arm around her shoulders. Ara leaned into him. We'll tell them every day if we have to, she said softly. After all, it's a pretty incredible story. Tom kissed her forehead, then looked out across the lake, his heart full. Yes, it is, and it's just the beginning. Together they watched the stars appear, the same stars under which they had first found each other, now the silent witnesses to their continued journey together on Zoria, beneath its twin moons and among its kind people. Tom had found more than a new home. He had discovered his place in the universe.